Super Bowl 31 no longer fits over their permanently swollen knuckles.
And I have seen a lot of fingers get dislocated to the point you got to just turn your head because he threw the ball so hard. And, you know, some guys try to stick their hand out to slow it down, but you can't do that.
I can recall on Sunday, Donald Driver ran a post route up the right side, and I ran a cross route underneath of the route, and I just saw, when I turned around, I heard the ball go by me.
Did you ever suggest to him that maybe he'd take a little bit of the zing off the ball?
Nah, because it look good on TV when they say, look at this throw. When you throw it hard and you catch it, everybody's like, okay, he got some hands, he can catch.
Despite the bodily harm they endure, the receivers wouldn't have it any other way, and are quick to point out that Favre always shows his appreciation for a job well done.
You make a great pass, you better expect to get slapped upside the head or something, because he's coming after you one way or another. It brings a lot of emotion to everybody on the offense. Defense, special teams, the whole team is that way, and I think it starts with number 4.
All right, Ann, thank you. Yeah, I talked with Brett for a while this week, and a couple of throws he made the driver, he said, now watch him close. I was like Randy Johnson coming off the mound. I didn't even look. And I was so happy because there were about 3 or 4 throws in the game that he made. Says I wasn't sure I could still make those throws, firing it in that hard. That, you know, just kind of falling off the mound in front. Mind, Sterling, of anybody that you knew?
You know, a young, crazy, and wild Brett Favre, yeah, but I didn't play with that guy that we saw last Sunday. That was a totally different quarterback. You saw a quarterback that had a lot of confidence in the game plan. You saw a quarterback that the game plan played to the strength of the guys he was throwing to. Donald Driver, a speed guy. Corey Bradford, a speed guy. Antonio Freeman working the middle. Bubba McDowell, the tight end, down in the red zone. I didn't play with that guy because we were learning the offense and growing together. That Brett Favre can definitely get the Packers to the Super Bowl.
Well, one thing about Brett Favre is you got to be tough. You are tough. These guys got to be tough. Brett Favre throws on faith. He sees things that no one else sees. He sees opportunities that no one else sees, and he needs believers on the other side to think, I'm going to catch this ball. I know I'm going to take a beating, and here you're going to see a couple opportunities. Just last week, Antonio Freeman a couple times, and Corey Bradford has to leave his feet. Brett Favre is going to put it out there, and he's expecting you to take a beating to catch it. Antonio Freeman, to me, as I've watched him over the years, one of the toughest receivers I've ever known. And, you know, think about these guys up there. They're in the ice and snow for 2 months as well. So, you know, to play for Brett Favre, not the easiest thing in the world, but, boy, is there some results and some payoffs.
Well, there are a couple other things to remember about this game, which is not actually necessary football information, but if you are playing Scrabble, worried about chess, here's another game, Tom. Scrabble. Kabir Baha Biamil, who let the Biamilas out, I know. He's playing against the Vikings' Brody Hefner Lydiard and Jimmy Kleinsasser. So, Stu, my question is, need a vowel?
Can I buy a vowel, please?
Please.
Boom, the only...
It's 2nd and 5. The Packers are in a 3-wide set with Amon Green, the single back. This play will start out as a run look to the left, but it will be play action. Favre will fake to Green and boot opposite to the right. Instead of rolling out like in the traditional bootleg pass, Brett will set up in the middle of his protection. This gives him the entire field to throw the ball. If he continued to roll, his field would be constricted. Back to the snap. Now focus on Corey Bradford in the slot and Antonio Freeman split wide. Bradford will run a quick wheel route while Freeman will push hard to the inside. He is selling a deep crossing route, which is a staple route in the conventional boot action game. At the snap, notice the quick cross by Bradford and Freeman. This route combination obviously caused confusion between safety Rod Woodson and corner Chris McAllister. With Favre able to work the whole field, Freeman now will quickly redirect and work back to the sideline. With pressure in Brett's face, he delivers the ball accurately to Freeman for the first down. From the end zone angle, let's focus on Favre. He comes out of the play fake and gets his head around, surveying the field. At this point, Brett knows that Tony Siragusa has a clean shot at him. He stays firm in the pocket with his focus downfield, looking down the gun barrel to deliver the football. This is what being a successful NFL quarterback is all about.
Not going to run against this team in base offense. Get them out of the game, give them running a little bit, so you can get a semblance of a running game, and as you spread things out, it really was in the end, when you watch the play, it was just QB-centric playing. It was a guy making a lot of plays to a lot of guys, especially in the red zone, where it was scoring touchdowns, was really just playmaking around the field.
For the Baltimore Ravens, though, it's simple. Brett Favre provided the embarrassment, and the rest of the games on this schedule for the Baltimore Ravens will suffer the consequences, because what Brett Favre and that team did is they forced Ray Lewis to be a cover guy and not a run-stopping linebacker. Ray Lewis spot shadowed here. Brett Favre, you see the drag route or flanker drive right here, as it would be, forcing Ray Lewis to chase and not allowing him in that front seven to be a dominant force in the football game. Force those guys on their heels with the passing game, spread them out, and allow Ray Lewis to play corner. I don't know if Cleveland has that in their back.
Sterling, you know, the truth is not, it's a QB, like I said, it's a QB game against the Ravens, and there's not many guys. Maybe Peyton Manning, you know, maybe Kurt Warner. I'm talking about the QBs who are capable of this.
Like
not Peyton Manning right
now.
How
about the end of the half? How about the end of the half, the touchdown that they get to Freeman, and I told you
that
about this, Sterling. Well, he went to the sidelines and everybody wanted them to kick a field goal. And Brett said, no, I'll throw it away. Don't worry about it if no one's open. Now, can you imagine a conversation with someone a lot of us know pretty well, Mike Holmgren, earlier in his career? Don't worry, I'll throw it away.
Mike would have strangled Brett on the sideline if he said that.
Well, but there is the maturation of Brett Favre. He bought the time touchdown to Freeman and gave them breathing room. Stu,
outstanding defense gets set to take on the Minnesota Vikings.
You're looking at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, the home of the Vikings, and today they entertain their arch rivals, the Green Bay Packers. I'm Pat Summerall with John Madden. And John, you think about the Packers, you talk about the Packers, it seems to be all Brett Favre, but it's more than that.
Well, you know, Mike Sherman has done a heck of a job with this team, and they've always had trouble here in the Metrodome. If you look at the last 9 games, they're 2-7 here. But I think when they were losing those games to the Vikings were better than they are now, and the Packers weren't as good. As we saw last week, the Packers are very, very good this year, and they're all about this guy, Brett Favre. I mean, you watch him play, and he's one of the best players that's ever played this position, and he's fun to watch. Now, last week against the Ravens, they did a lot of shotgun. They spread him out a little because they felt that was the way to play him and pass all the time. Today, I think they're going to go back to more balance. I think we'll still see shotgun. We're still going to see Brett Favre throw the ball, but I think this guy, Amon Green, is going to get him to a lot more balance offensively.
Now, about the Vikings, we talked to Dennis Green, their head coach, on Friday, and he said, we're a team that's still looking for ourselves. Do you think they've found anything?
No, I don't think they've found themselves. I think that, you know, when they've lost a big part of their offensive line and their running back and so on, they had to make all those changes. They've had a tough time doing it. I mean, they brought in Michael Bennett, the #1 draft choice. He's injured. He's not going to play today. Doug Chapman will play. They have, in the last 2 years, they have 4 new offensive linemen, and I don't think they've really adjusted. So offensively, no. Defensively, they have their work cut out for them.
Today's key stat is brought to you by UBS. Brett Favre, as John said, has had a tough time in the Metrodome. Dante Culpepper accounts for over 84% of the Viking yards on offense. Coming up, offense takes center stage. Packers and Vikings next.
Give me what you got on every snap, and we win the game. Period. Here we go. Pound him, pound him, pound him. Put your slammer on him. Slammer on 3. 1, 2, 3, go.
Let's go quickly down to Ron Pitts.
Well, Pat and John, as you guys know, the noise here in this stadium is a huge problem. Not only with the speakers behind the visitors' bench, but also speakers in the ceiling. It gets very, very hard for offenses to hear. The Green Bay Packers have a solution to that. I talked to Brett Favre last night. He said the biggest problem is that I can't hear the call all the time coming in from the sideline. So they've added 2 extra speakers to Brett Favre's helmet. Originally, he only had 2. They've got 4 speakers in there to help him get the call so they don't have unnecessary mistakes that they don't need. This is what they want to do to give arguably the best quarterback in the NFL a chance to work their offense. Pat?
All right, Ron, and right now for a quick game break, let's go to Los Angeles and James Brown.
Hey, Pat and John, a collective sigh of relief in Washington. Tony Banks in overtime, hooking up with the rookie Rod Gardner, a 52-yard pass play. No Panther touches him. He takes in for the score. Washington with its first victory of the season. 6 catches, 213 yards, and 2 touches from Rod Gardner. Back to Pat and John.
Boy, first time ever George Seifert has lost 4 games in a row. Now he's lost 5 games in a row.
And you knew that the Washington Redskins, aren't a good team, but you knew that they weren't going to lose every game this year. Now you have to wonder about the Detroit Lions. When are they going to win their first?
Don't you, though? Longwell's kickoff. Sails deep is taken by Travis Prentice. Juggles the ball, and the Vikings drop on it, and inside the 10, their own 10.
I have no idea what the heck he was trying to do. I think he either stepped on the sideline or thought he stepped on the sideline. Then he looked like he just tried to throw the ball back out there.
Well, let's look at it again, John.
He's going to get it here. Now, right here, he didn't step on the sideline, but rather than stepping on the sideline, you got to hold the football and just do it with your feet. You can't throw the ball back out.
Back in.
Well, he did. He looked like he thought he was a special teams player on a coverage team. That's not a thing there.
Yeah. First and 10, Minnesota. At their own 10, Culpepper is back to throw it. Fires up the middle, incomplete. Intended for Chris Carter. Let's look at the Minnesota offense. The line, Badger, Lindsey, Burke, Dixon, and Lewinsky. Randy Moss and Chris Carter, the wide receivers. Chapman and Feinsaucer in the backfield. And Byron Chamberlain is the tight end. Bad start so far, at least for the Vikings.
Well, they really miss Robert Smith. I mean, he was such a big part of their offense that if you wanted to double these guys and double these guys, they would run it to Robert Smith. Now, Culpepper is their best quarterback and their best runner.
4 wide receivers as Doug Chapman runs it and gets a few. Let's look at Green Bay's defense. The front 4, they start Theory, Dotson, Gilbert Brown, and Bonnie Holiday. But they do a lot of changing. Wayne Harris in the middle and Niall Diggs. Tyrone Williams, Darren Sharper, Leroy Butler, and Mike McKenzie.
Right now, Kabir Bajamili is in there right there, and you see he's a leading sacker in the NFL right now, lined up right there on Brad Badger, the weakest offensive lineman of the Vikings.
He has 9 sacks. Good job that time. Pass incomplete, and for another game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Pat, that collective sigh of relief is now an oh no. Take a look. The play has been reviewed. Touchdown not granted. They claim that one of the Panther players, Deion Grant, his foot touched the helmet of Gardner. So the field goal kicker for the Skins is in now. We'll try and win it. We'll let you know what happens. Back to Pat and John.
That's a little different turn of events.
That was a premature call.
Yeah. Alan Rossum is back deep for Berger's punt. Rossum will field it, fair catch at midfield. And the Packers will take over at midfield. And let's look at the Green Bay offense, so effective last week. This is a good young offensive line. Clifton Wall, Flanagan, Marco Rivera, and Mark Tauscher. Bradford, Amon Green, William Henderson, Franks, and Antonio Freeman. Bradford starting in place of Schrader. And Brett Favre.
Yeah, Bill Schrader had a big first half last week against the Ravens. Didn't play at all in the second half. They worked him out before the game, and his ankle wasn't ready for today's play.
Amon Green is deep. Franks on the move. And Green. Stopped by Lemansky Hall, but got about 3. Here's the Minnesota defense. Colonnade, Garnett, Hovan, and Sawyer up front. New names: Ed McDonough, Eric Kelly, Orlando Thomas, Henry Jones, and Kenny Wright. Not familiar names. 2nd and 8. Make it 7. Amon Green bouncing around, gets about a yard.
We were talking about Bill Schrader, Pat, not playing, and they didn't know that he wasn't going to play until before the game today. And you can see he came out here in shorts, and you see he tried to jump, and see that right ankle there. He had a whole bunch of tape on it. You can tell right there he tried to make a cut and couldn't do it. And then he decided that there was no way that he could play today. But he tried everything that he could do before he gave in to that situation.
3rd and 7 and Favre in the shotgun. He likes it.
It likes him.
Brett Favre to Freeman. First down, and let's go again back to James Brown in Los Angeles.
And John, it is a final thanks to this 23-yard field goal by Brett Conway. The final score 17-14. Washington, first victory of the season, and as John Madden's fond of saying, winning is a great deodorant. Back to Pat and John.
Especially when you get the right score.
Yeah, winning is a great deodorant. They'll all be hugging each other now and jumping up and down in the locker room, and everyone will love everyone. When you don't win, you can't find anyone to hug.
That's right. And you don't want to particularly hug anyone.
Hey, you're talking
Freeman
about
make the catch this
talking
time
about
again.
hugging guys, though, Pat, is Antonio Freeman was kind of out of things for a while. Remember, against Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago, he only caught a pass, and then he complained about it a little, and they talked about it. And then last week against Ravens, he caught 9 passes. Today, he's caught 2 already on this drive. The first 4 game, he only caught 9 passes. Last week alone, he caught 9.
He goes out, and they go with 2 tight ends. And Amon Green hits opposition right at the line of scrimmage. Flag on the play from the other side of the field.
One of the things the Vikings talk about defensively is even though this is Brett Favre and they are a passing team, the first thing they have to do is stop the run. Then they can worry about trying to get the Packers one-dimensional, go after them, and those types of things. But Amon Green, last year had a big game against the Vikings.
Illegal shift on the offense. 2 backs moving, did not reset prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
But the rule is you can have one man can move, and that can be motion. But you see both the fullback and tailback both move. Now, if they both move, they have to set for a second after they move.
So the Vikings take the penalty, and here comes the blitz, and Favre gets it out of there to Amon Green. Ed McDaniel came firing through at the last second with a shot on Favre.
Yeah, that was Orlando Thomas came on a safety blitz, and he timed that thing perfectly. He came right in the left side of the Packers offense, and he got to Brett Favre right after he throws it. You're going to see him come right there. See, number 42 is a free safety, Orlando Thomas. He started back, got up, and then boom, he hit it just as it was snapped.
Those of you who watched the Redskins get their first victory, welcome to the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Blitz again, and Favre throws it away. Let's go down to Ron Pitts.
Well, Pat, Vikings defensive lineman Colin Stalinet dislocated a finger on his left hand. They popped it back in the joint for him, taped it up, and he looked like he's ready to go back in the game. Pat?
All right, Ron, thank you.
That was Stalin Collinet, who they just got this week. They traded, or they lost him to Cleveland, traded back to Cleveland to bring Stalinet in, brought him in on Wednesday, and he's starting today.
This is Longwell from 51 yards out. It's far enough, but it's no good. And the Vikings will take over. Back at the spot of the kick. 0-0, first quarter, 10:23 left.
Brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 36.
0-0, Green Bay and Minnesota. Here's Stalin Collinet, who dislocated his finger. You heard Ron Pitts say a moment ago they popped it back in, so he probably will return.
Oh, yeah, that can't stop a big old defensive lineman who just got here 3 days ago.
Shouldn't. And a flag on the play. Somebody move. Ron Winter is the referee.
Ball start.
Number 84, offense.
Randy
5-yard
Moss.
penalty. Remains first down.
You know, I was watching Randy Moss in practice the other day, and, you know, he does have some sloppy habits, and one of his habits are not getting set. I mean, we talked about you have to be set for a second. So you can't be moving before the ball snaps. You can't be moving ahead. You have to get set like that and just stay there until the ball snaps. You're looking at the ball to see when it snaps.
Go on. For Randy Moss, who comes down with it. But out of bounds, out of bounds.
But he can still do that, though, can't he? I mean, that's the thing. You just see Randy Moss is out here. Is going to throw it right up against the sideline. There's pushing 1, 2. He caught that ball.
Oh, no, he dropped it.
No, he dropped it going out of there. I'm watching the feet. Everyone's using their hands on that deal, though.
Yep.
You see, he has both feet inbound, but he doesn't have control of the ball.
Feet were fine. He just didn't have the ball.
There's Tyrone Williams on him, and they were both all the way down. They were both using their hands.
2nd and 15. They fumble the snap from center. And that has been a problem with the Vikings, and it seems to be a problem all the way around the league.
Yeah, and you wonder why. We're seeing more fumble snaps than I think that I can ever remember. And we saw them, you know, they did the same thing last week. I mean, the ball is up there by the center, and Dante Culpepper just doesn't get it. And I don't know why. I mean, I watch freshman football. My son's a freshman football coach, and they don't have that many missed snaps in a freshman high school football game. I don't know where that came from or where it started. One of the things is centers are pulling a little more.
Yeah, that's one.
And that could be, but that's still no excuse for pros.
Here's Culpepper. The ball is batted into the air after he let it go. Flanagan comes down with it.
I think I saw a flag come in there late, too.
You did.
Yep, Santana Dotson, number 71, got the initial pressure.
This against the Vikings.
Yep, and the Packers will turn this down and have them punt. Mitch Berger's already back there where they're
Illegal
going
touch.
to be.
The forward pass hit an ineligible receiver, number 62 in the helmet. That penalty declined. 4th down.
In the back of the head.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You can't blame the old guard. He's just there blocking, and it's a penalty against him. But he's just blocking his old guy, and the ball hits him in the back of the head.
Berger back to punt to Alan Rossum. Just brought up. Just activated today. But now with hamstring problem.
Mike Sherman said he has to be perfect to play, and he must be perfect today. He's there! He's there!
Coverage is good. Jim Nelson was the first man down, number 56. And he took Rossum down with one arm. 9.5 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Nothing score at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Brett Favre from his own 21. Almost picked off. That was late being delivered, and Orlando Thomas came up to knock it away.
Yeah, that's one of the things with confidence. You know, it's that old thing you talk to Brett Favre. You know, when is a guy open, and he thinks that he can get the ball in there anywhere. And that one there, he got it a little too inside to Corey Bradford. Now, this is a problem, you know, where he expects Bradford to go in front, use his body, maybe the way a Bill Schrader would, and keep Orlando Thomas from getting in there. Bradford comes under control a little too soon.
Green on the drop play. Surges forward for a couple extra.
One of the things that Mike Sherman says that he loves about Ahman Green is that after he gets hit, he'll always get you 2 more yards. And that's what you want out of all running backs. So when you get hit, when the thing is all over, get the pile going your way. And if the pile goes your way, then you usually get 2 yards.
Checking in is Donald Driver. And the second tight end, David Martin.
Right, Donald Driver now with Schrader out. He becomes the third wide receiver. Bradford starting.
Antonio Freeman couldn't quite find the handle, and the Packers will have to punt again.
And the Viking defense is pretty fired up today,
Yes,
because even had Brett Favre completed that one to Antonio Freeman, it wouldn't have been a first down. Because Freeman was going out of bounds anyway.
Well, they must say he caught it.
One thing that they're doing, well, he did catch it. Yeah, they gave him that spot, but as I said, it wasn't a first down anyway.
Josh Bidwell back to punt. Good kick. Oh, the ball's loose. Walters was the man back. Hit by Chris Akins, and the Packers have the ball.
I tell you, Akins was really coming down there.
Was he ever?
He was unblocked. There was no one on him, and he just got a free shot. There was no fair catch. And even though there's not a fair catch, you still have to let the returner catch the ball. He still has a right to catch a ball. Akins timed that thing perfectly. Now watch now he has to let him catch the ball. See, now he gives him the opportunity to catch it, and then right after he catch it, Chris Akins is right there and really unloads on it.
If there was ever a time for a fair catch.
That's the reason. I mean, you have to look at the ball, but you have to know where the guy is. You have to see him also.
Packers start way down in Viking territory, and here is Amon Green, and he is tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Ed McDaniel and Lemansky Hall.
And the Vikings are really ganging up and pursuing. You see, they're getting up the field here, not letting him get to the outside. Then if you can't get to the outside, you have to cut back, and then the pursuit takes away the lanes of the cutback.
And it's going to bring up a 2nd and 16 and throw it time for Brett Favre.
Talked to Denny Green the other day, and he talked about losing twice to the Packers last year, and he said the big thing was turnovers, and then boom, he has one.
Favre has time. Drops it to Green. Green gets inside the 15.
And this Viking defense of Denny Green's is really hustling a lot more and gang tackling. We talk about any time you're going to hit Amon Green, there's going to be contact, see the contact, and then 1, 2, 3 yards. Yep. He is always going to do that.
And what an asset that is.
Look at that. He leads the league at 285 yards after contact. We call that YAC, yards after contact.
Favre up the middle. That's going to be near a first down for Corey Bradford, but not quite there. Let's see how much they need.
This is going to be an interesting decision. You know, the Packers and that whole West Coast offense, everyone that uses this offense is using this pattern here, this crossing pattern, a lot more than they used to. And the big thing right here, it is 4th down, and the Packers are going to go for it.
This is not just 4th and inches. This is 4th and about 2.
I think part of it is having a Brett Favre. The other part of it is not having a great deal of respect for this Viking defense.
Timeout, Green Bay.
Timeout.
Maybe they want to think it over. They didn't realize how far they had to go.
There's Willie Shaw. He's the assistant head coach, defensive backfield coach, talking to Kylie Wong, and I know what he's telling. Watch out for the play fake. You know, where you fake the run and throw the pass. That's what I would expect in this situation.
Double tight end setup, and Amon Green gets nothing. He didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. Those 2 extra yards didn't materialize then.
No, they didn't at all.
Ed Robbins made the stop. Well, the Vikings hold, and that should give them an emotional charge.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by the reinvented Toyota Camry. Get the feeling. By Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Fidelity Investments, we can help you see yourself succeeding. And by Burger King, home of the Whopper.
Minnesota State Capitol. Green Bay nothing, Minnesota nothing.
Where Governor Jesse Ventura spends most of his time these days.
Green Bay's had tremendous advantage in possession time, but the score is nothing.
Well, that was a big play on fourth down for the Vikings defense.
Culpepper gives to Doug Chapman.
In fact, let's watch it again on the clicker. We'll see, here's Fred Robbins right here. The center blocks this way. They want to stop Hovan, but when the center goes that way, and then you see that they bring it back. You see, when the center goes that way, then Robbins gets the penetration lane. See, and he penetrates right in that lane, and Amon Green doesn't have a chance. What they were trying to do, they were worried about Hovan, so they were trying to double Hovan, and in doing so, they gave Fred Robbins a straight line at Amon Green.
A new center for the Vikings. Here is Chapman again.
Culpepper's 0 for 4.
Corey Withrow is now the offensive center. And now he comes out. And Matt Burt goes back in.
Yeah, that had to be a
equipment problem, I would think.
Temporary thing, because Matt Burke is their center. If they ever move Matt Burke, it's going to be the tackle. It's not going to be out of the lineup.
He is a good player.
He was in the Pro Bowl last year.
Culpepper out of the shotgun, steps up into the pocket, and he's going to take off. And he's going to get a Viking first down. Out of bounds at about the 27.
Yeah, we were talking to Mike McKenzie about him yesterday, the corner for the Green Bay Packers, and he said that when Culpepper runs, he's like an offensive lineman on wheels. And you can see this looks like an offensive lineman on wheels.
260 pounds at least. 11-yard pickup.
He's a couple baked potatoes above 260, I
think he is.
That's why it's so tough to tackle. He's bigger than linebackers and bigger than a lot of defensive linemen are trying to tackle him.
And way bigger than the defensive back. This is Randy Moss. Spins up for about 9. For a game break, let's again take you to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Pat, it looked as if Detroit was trying to get its first victory of the season. Charlie Batch, with under $1:30 to play, hooks up with Desmond Howard for the tying score. But with seconds remaining in the game, Joe Netney, a 46-yard field goal, in goes hope. Tennessee wins it. Back to Pat. Heads off.
No score at the Metrodome in Minnesota.
I think Culpepper's calling an audible here.
Gives to his fullback or up-back line saucer, who might have gotten enough for the first down.
You know what that audible is all about is, you know, most guys, when they bring that 8th guy up, they bring him over in the strong side. Here they have Leroy Butler up here, so that helps the weak side running. So what they're audibleizing to when he comes up weak is a strong side run. Because if they have an advantage, it's to the strong side. Now that didn't look like they had an advantage anyway, but that was what they were trying to do, and trying to audibilize away from Leroy Butler on the weak side.
And they got the first down. Here's Culpepper back to throw again. Pass is caught by Chris Carter. A leaping catch. Tyrone Williams brought him down.
There is a flag on that play too, but you're going to see him. There's a flag way over on the other side, and you see him come in here. And this is the thing that Chris Carter always does so well, is use his body. It's not going to count. It's going to be against the Vikings.
Illegal motion. Number 84 of the offense. Moving forward at the snap. 5-yard penalty.
Randy Moss is moving forward.
See, and that's right there. And again, that's just lack of concentration. And and sloppy play, and he's a lot better player in that. I mean, that's the second penalty that he has so far in the game, and it's just related to sloppiness.
So it's 1st and 15, and Culpepper gives to running back Doug Chapman in a huge hole over the left side of the Packer defense, and Chapman gets a first down.
Denny Green was telling us the other day about Doug Chapman, and he said he's a slasher. He's just going to get the ball and just slash right through a hole. He had a lead by Kleinsaucer, and Kleinsaucer went in the 2-hole, and Doug Chapman just took it 1 hole out in the 4-hole. A lot of times, that lead blocker, that first guy that's going through the block, will draw a crowd, so then the hole will be a hole out or a hole in away from the lead blocker, and that's what happened there.
19 yards and a Viking first down. Here's Culpepper. With time, it's Byron Chamberlain, the tight end, who is cut down by Butler. Early game notes, David Patton of New England, third player since 1966 to run, pass, and catch a touchdown in a game. Dan Reeves and Walter Payton, the last two to do it, put himself in some pretty good company. Some candidate had a big day for the Rams, replacing Marshall Faulk.
You're going to replace Marshall Faulk. You better have a big day because he adds so much to it.
Gone. Outside Chapman. About 3.
One of the things Dante Culpepper thought that he was going to do is throw a little more to his backs to Doug Chapman and also to his tight end Byron Chamberlain, because the Packers like to use a lot of that cover 2 and those types of things that make you just stay patient. And somewhere Culpepper is going to have to hit some of those things, but I still think to win he's going to have to hit a couple of big ones for Randy Moss, and he's going to have to run some.
From the spread, Culpepper retreats and spins to his left. And he's going to try to take off. He's knocked down by his own man, lost the ball. And let's see who got it. The Packers got it.
That was Everett Lindsay, number 62. You see Culpepper's out there. This was an organized rollout. He goes to cut back inside, and Everett Lindsay, who's his left guard, was just coming out to help to make a block, and he rolled and turned right into him. That wasn't Lindsay's fault.
Recovered by Wynn. Nate Wayne, I'm sorry. And that's the end of the first quarter with the score of the Packers, 0.
Yeah, you're just going to see Everett Lindsay. Watch him here. He's just hustling. I mean, this has to come under the category of stuff happens. He's trying to get down there and make a block. Culpepper is trying to cut back in, and in doing so, runs right into his own guy, and the ball pops out.
You put that under the column of stuff happens. Right?
Stuff happens.
It does.
I mean, in life, sometimes just stuff happens. You can't blame Culpepper. I mean, he didn't expect to have his own guy there, but you can't blame the guy. He's just hustling.
That's another new stat we've invented.
Stuff happens.
Stuff happens. Here's Amon Green. That's his first run of any substance.
Yeah, before that, he had 5 carries for -6 yards. That's the thing. When Willie Shaw wants to get something done, he gets it done. And today, he wants 2 things done. 1, stop the run. He's doing that. And 2, in these situations, put pressure on Brett Favre.
Amon Green is about even now. He got 6 yards. That puts him back to a total 0 for the day. Here's Brett Favre. Favre drops it out to Donald Driver, and Driver's knocked out of bounds inside the Viking 35, about the 33.
You're going to see Driver again. The way you use your speed is you can use your speed by going up the field or by going across the field. Driver that time, and Brett Favre used it by going across the field. Corey Bradford should have given him more of a block here. If Corey Bradford just gets one guy, this could be another 10 yards. Robert Tate, who's the fifth defensive back now, made the tackle.
Here's Amon Green. Runs into a stack of his own people and some Vikings and picks up about 4.
I think the Packers came into this game, Pat, thinking that running would be a little easier.
I think they probably did.
Well, you remember, as evidenced by that fourth down play. Remember on fourth down, they go 4th and 2, and they go for it running. But these are just some of Amon Green's runs here. Talk about how he always gets 2 yards after he gets hit, but in a lot of these cases, there's a whole bunch of purple jerseys on him wherever he goes.
2nd and 8. Bubba Franks, the tight end from Favre. That's near a first down.
And one thing about Brett Favre, he doesn't have to be in perfect position to throw the ball. In fact, he said the thing that helps him is that he doesn't throw with his feet. And this is why he can get the ball. I mean, they come with a free guy. The guy's coming free off the slot, but he just sees it. And the minute that he sees it, it can come out of his arm because his hands are come out of his hand because his feet don't have to be set.
I got to ask you, what quarterback do you know who throws with his feet?
No, with his feet being set. Most of them throw that their feet have to be set before they'll throw it.
Oh. Henderson gets the carry.
In fact, if you have Troy Aikman, I remember Troy Aikman saying that it's not your arm or your hand or the ball being ready to throw. It's when your feet are in position to let your arm be ready to throw.
Brett Favre doesn't do that.
Brett Favre doesn't do that. He said, luckily, in his life as a passer, he's never used his feet. His feet have never been important. So half the time, his arm will be going forward and his feet will be going backwards.
Well, he was telling us last night that when he was a youngster and was watching practice, there'd be a bag of balls on the sideline, and he'd go get a ball and throw it as far as he could throw it until he threw all the balls that were in the bag, and then he'd go get them and throw them back again.
Yeah, and that was because his dad was a coach. His dad was a high school coach, and he would go to practice and just throw the balls. This time now they get a 4th and even shorter, and the Packers aren't going to go for it.
58 reporting.
Longwell.
This is what, 4th and 1 or 4th and less than 1. Remember, down on the other end on a 4th and 2, they went for it and got stuffed. So now it's that old Pavlov deal with the rat going in the maze, going left and getting the cheese, going right and getting hit over the head.
Pavlov was the dogs, not the rats.
No, Pavlov had the maze, too.
Longwell is wide left from 42 yards away. Twice he's missed, and the score remains 0-0. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:35 p.m. Pacific on Fox and Fox Sports Net. Most of you will see the Mariners and the Yankees square off in Game 4 of the ALCS right here on Fox. And you can catch the Diamondbacks and the Braves in Game 5 of the NLCS on Fox Sports Net.
And you just look at the miscues today. The Vikings have fumbled already 4 times, lost 2. The Packers have missed 2 field goals, one at 51 and 42, and then they failed on that 4th down. So at some point, it's going to come back to haunt these guys. You see, Leroy Butler is going off. Chris Akins, number 31, the guy that made the big special teams play, is taking his play.
2nd and 7, Minnesota. Screen pass, and the Packers had a defense very well, or did at one time. That's Doug Chapman. It looked like he would lose yardage, and he picked up about 4.
Bob Jabiamila makes a good pass rush. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to come here and go to that side. Now, watch Gilbert Brown right here, 93. He sees that thing, and he gets on his horse, and he's the guy that defended it. Gilbert Brown, the tackle, sees the screen, gets down there, and makes Doug Chapman cut back.
Let's go down to Ron Pitts.
Pat, Leroy Butler, the Packers safety, has a chest contusion. They just took him in for x-rays. His return is questionable.
All right, Ron. We saw Leroy Butler head in. That's Via Miller.
I think he's just taking a knee. when you get a breather, you take a knee.
What a delightful guy.
You just want some oxygen.
By cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Never miss a genuine opportunity. And by The One, a new film from Revolution Studios. Opens November 2nd.
You know, in about another month, Pat, those are going to be icicles.
Yeah.
Did you ever eat icicles as a kid for popsicles?
Of course, but I grew up in Florida, so we didn't have that many.
I used to eat. I grew up here. I was born here in Minnesota.
I know you were. Culpepper to Moss. Should be enough for the first.
And your parents were good salespeople when they could sell you that an icicle was a popsicle.
Well, I had good salesmen then, didn't you?
Yes, I did. You know, the Vikings' longest pass has been 8 yards. I mean, you can't say they have to do anything because they're doing well defensively, so they don't have to do anything stupid except eliminate those penalties.
Chapman again.
But at some point you think that they're going to have to get the ball down the field, and you look here, he's 3 for 4 to the left here, under 15, 1 for 3 here in the middle, 1 for 1 to the right. All his passes have been under 15 yards, 4 left, 3 middle, and only 1 to the right. But at some point he has to pass that 15-yard mark.
And that's not what the Vikings are noted for.
Well, you know, the Packers are giving them those safeties deep, and they're rotating all the time to Randy Moss.
Here's Chapman. And Doug Chapman rams into Packer territory before Sharper can bring him down.
You see what they do is they're rotating. Randy Moss is on this side. They're rotating the corner and safety to that side, so now you can take advantage of it. That's what they used to do. You see, here's Randy Moss over here. Now they're going to come up here and come over here. Now that takes this safety and this corner out of it. So if you can break a gap here, and Randy Moss gets a little block, you're going to have a run to the safety.
When the defensive end goes to the outside and the defensive tackle comes to the inside, there's a natural hole there.
And the corner rotates and the safety goes deep.
Here's Culpepper. Here's that long one. And he's got a man. Touchdown Vikings. Chris Carter. And Culpepper dropped it right in there. From 43 yards out.
And you have to have a heck of an arm to do that, because what he did is he rolled to the right and threw that to the left. He's going to roll out here right. Now here's Chris Carter back on the left side. So you get the whole defense to go that way. There's Chris Akins, who just come in for Leroy Butler, and they took advantage of him.
And Carter did a heck of a job selling it.
And Culpepper put that thing right on the spot. Because that's the old fool. They say, once you roll, you're not going to throw back across your body. With Dante Culpepper, you can roll one way and throw back the other way.
A discussion in the end zone. There's a flag on the touchdown play.
There is no infraction on the play. Touchdown is scored.
No flag on the play. Chris Carter's 128th career touchdown, all but one on a pass reception, and his 4th this year.
Well, that was a heck of a sales job, as you said, by Chris Carter, and a heck of a strong arm by Dante Culpepper. Again, most quarterbacks wouldn't even try that. Most coaches wouldn't even put that play in for a quarterback. Roll right, throw deep left.
Minnesota 7. The Green Bay Packers nothing. And the celebration continues.
talking about getting a throw. He sprints out here. Then watch him come out and set his feet. Watch him come out, set, and then throw all the way across the field. A perfect strike to Chris Carter. You see how that got all the defense? Yep. When he started to sprint, he just sprinted out to his right, and all the defense went that way with him, and then threw back against the grain.
Rossum from the 1. Taken down by Antonio Wilson. Again, a one-arm tackle. Show that features a comedian who's a diehard sports fan and a bunch of ex-jocks who really know the game. With sports comedy, commentary, and constantly updated scores and highlights. What more could you want from a show? The best damn sports show, period. Favre. Incomplete. Intended for Dorsey Levens. He pumped and looked deep.
Yeah, it looked like the Packers are going back to what they did last week. You see him back here in the shotgun with Dorsey Levens in there. They have a package for Dorsey Levens. One of the things that, he does best are these underneath routes. And we're talking about Brett Favre, throwing conventional. Like a quarterback goes 1, 2, 3 steps and throws, and then unconventional. Most of the times that Brett Favre throws will be unconventional.
Right. 2nd and 10. He's in the shotgun again. And back to throw. And the pass is intercepted by Kylie Wong. And Wong is in the end zone. Touchdown, Minnesota. He was waiting for that.
This place is going nuts.
Boy, is it.
Kylie Wong is a middle linebacker, and he's just going to go back, and he's setting up there in the zone. Brett Favre had to get rid of the ball. Again, didn't get set. You'll see Wong, he just goes back. He's right in the middle of the field, and he just comes in and picks it off. He was trying to get it in there to Corey Bradford. Kylie Wong is free. He's just coming back.
Willie Howard was right in his face. And he had to let it go, as John said, and it's 14-0 Minnesota. 7:56 left to play in the first half, and the Vikings have shocked the Packers. Kylie Wong's first touchdown of his career.
In college at Stanford, Kylie Wong was a defensive lineman. Maybe that's one of the reasons.
This is going to be Rossum again. Tripped up and goes down at about the 25.
Let's watch Kylie Wong in that interception here. You see it's 2nd and 10, so he's not playing run at all. He's just going to go straight back and read Brett Favre. Brett Favre turns. It looked like Brett Favre didn't even see Kylie Wong.
It did.
Kylie Wong was watching Favre all the way.
Yep. It looked like he didn't expect him there, certainly.
Yeah, but he was there. The whole time. You just see 52 purple, 52 purple, 52 purple. Then he throws it to 52 purple.
And 52 purple puts the Vikings on the board again. 14-0 Minnesota. Here's Favre back to throw it. And throws it away after he gets out of the pocket. Kylie Wong in pursuit.
Yep, that was old 52 purple that time. We saw him back off, and this time he comes on a blitz. And he has good speed. I mean, he's going to come right through here. You see him break through here. Now here comes Kylie Wong, and he takes the angle where Brett Favre was going. You don't chase the guy from behind. You take the angle, not where he is, not where he was, but where he's going. Now watch the angle that Kylie Wong takes right here. You see to cut him off?
Yep.
And if Brett Favre doesn't slide and throw it away, Kylie Wong would have had it. But again, once you get outside that tight end box, you can throw the ball away.
4 wide receivers set up this time. Pass out to Charles Lee is dropped. Just activated when they put Schrader down.
One thing about this West Coast offense is that it has to be in sync. And if you can play it, and if you can knock it out of sync, and that's exactly what the Vikings have done now, they will have trouble. Lee just dropped that pass. There's no reason for that, but you can tell that this Viking defense is really playing well against this offense, and they're not letting them get started.
Well, the West Coast offense is not strange or no secret to Denny Green. He's been around it all his life.
But he hasn't used it.
No.
That's the thing.
A bad snap, and Favre gets back and falls on it at about the 6-yard line. It's Green Bay ball, but they'll have to punt out of the end zone. And things are going wrong for the Packers.
You know, this whole shotgun thing is new to the Green Bay Packers. In fact, Brett Favre was talking about his center, Mike Flanagan, said he's never done it before, but he does it well.
He didn't do it well.
He didn't do it well then. And I'll tell you this about the shotgun. The shotgun is a lot tougher on the road than it is at home.
In a noisy stadium like this.
Remember, that's why Bill Walsh was going to use it one year, opened up in Detroit, couldn't hear, and never used it again the rest of his career.
And still doesn't like it.
And some of his disciples, like Mike Holmgren, won't use it.
The Vikings, Walters, and he almost broke for some room then. Troy Walters. Again, a reminder about the baseball coming up here on Fox. You'll see the Yankees in Seattle right where you are on Fox. On the Fox Sports Net, you'll see Atlanta and Arizona.
Yeah, this is when baseball's its best.
Yep.
I mean, it's really fun. I mean, it's not only about the Yankees and about Seattle, but I mean, the whole, all the games have been to me very entertaining and some great plays and great competition.
Culpepper gives to Chapman. This sort of tells you where you'll see what games on the Fox Sports Net. Those of you in Arizona and the Atlanta regions will see it on Fox regularly. That's right. Fox, where you are, you'll see the Yankees and the road team, Yankees in Seattle, I should say. The road team has won 6 out of 7 games so far. Chapman again.
If I had been, talking about the baseball again for a minute, Derek Jeter, to me, has been a very, very special player. I mean, if you said, okay, take a pick, and then we'll decide what the game is later, if that was the thing, I think I'd pick Derek Jeter, and we'll decide what we're going to play.
He's going to be your first choice.
The other guy, yeah, I'd take him. The other guy that has been impressive is Schilling. I mean, the way that he's going, he's been something special here.
On third down, the Vikings. Randy Moss is leveled, but hung on. Darren Sharper. Moss is up.
Yeah, but he's not really straightened up. I mean, Moss couldn't get all the way up. Here he comes. He's going to come in the slot. There's Sharper right there. Again, Dante Culpepper led Randy Moss right in to Darren Sharper. Let's watch it at normal speed.
Gone.
I'll tell you, that's how quickly things happen and how hard some guys can hit. And Randy Moss is out there now. He's right here, but it took him a while to get straightened up.
Culpepper gives again to Chapman. Chapman picks up 3.
This is the area. They already got one where they sprinted right and threw back across to Chris Carter for a touchdown. But this is the area that I think that you like to go to Randy Moss from here on in the end zone and let him, because he's so fast, and I know he has a bad ankle, but he jumps so well and makes so many big plays. That's why you pay him those big dollars to make plays in these types of situations.
It looks like he's gotten himself straightened back up again.
Well, he is. It took him a while. It took him a while in the huddle.
2nd and 7. Here's Culpepper. Intended for Carter.
Yeah, we're talking about that hit that it took him a while to get up. Watch him. Watch his eyes, Pat. This is what I said. He couldn't straighten up. I mean, see, he's kind of bent. He's walking perpendicular to the line for a while. Someone had to hit him in the head to get him.
I think he did well. Did well to even get up.
Well, yeah, and then to get back up to straight, up to vertical,
and not leave the contest,
and then to get those eyes uncrossed.
Third down. Shotgun for the Vikings. Culpepper is going to take off. And Culpepper is cut down short of the first down, but they're in field goal range. Todd McBride tripped him up.
Yeah, that's the thing. A defensive back, they say, how little a defensive back is and how big Culpepper is. What you want to do is not take him on square, but get an angle. You see Akins come in there at that angle. You want to do two things. You want an angle, and you want to go low. Chris Akins did both of those.
Gary Anderson has kicked more field goals than anybody else, and he adds to his total from 42 yards out. It is 17-0. Next week, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show as J.B. Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff. Then the Saints look to gain the ground on the first-place Rams, or the Buccaneers battle these Vikings. Later, the dominating Giants defense takes on the Redskins or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, here on Fox. And who knows who's favored and what games after today.
Well, and who would have thought this? I mean, the Green Bay Packers a week ago against the Baltimore Ravens looked so good that you thought that they were as close offensively to being perfect as you could. And the Vikings have been struggling. I mean, I really think they've never adjusted to Robert Smith. They lose Corey Stringer to a tragic death in training camp. Their other tackle, Todd Stussy, they don't have, so they have backup linemen really starting for them now. And
Robert Smith.
And then they go and they get it back, Michael Bennett to replace Robert Smith. He's injured. He's out.
And don't forget their best defensive player, perhaps. Robert Griffith breaks his leg.
And he is their best defensive player. And we saw Robert Griffith the other day, and he said he'll be back after the bye.
Right.
And that would be for the Philadelphia game.
Alan Rossum is back deep again for Green Bay. Mitch Berger to kick it off.
This is an interesting thing here, isn't it?
Yeah. They were doing that the other day in practice.
Yeah, there'll be some collisions downfield, but not if the ball goes out of bounds.
No collision. That's a tough penalty.
This is a big penalty. We're talking about Robert Griffith there, the strong safety for the Minnesota Vikings.
Kickoff out of bounds. By rule, the ball is placed at the 40-yard line.
They'll start from the 40.
Look at we talk about in the first half, Green Bay missed 2 field goals, failed on a 4th down. Remember when they ran for it with 2 yards?
And at that point, the score was 0-0.
Right, and then they had that interception that Kylie Wong returned for a TD. Then they had a bad snap on that shotgun, and that's an 18-yard loss. So they've had a few miscues in this first half.
Favre throws it out to Amon Green.
I think part of it is this crowd, this noise. I think the other part is this Green Bay team was really built to play on grass in cold weather and Lambeau Field. It's not built to play indoors on artificial turf. And if you look at their record, and you look at Brett Favre's record, his record is a heck of a lot better on grass than it is on artificial turf.
Both at home and away.
A lot better outdoors than it is indoors. And at some point you have to say that that's a thing.
Well, it is a thing.
There's a guy that does a heck of a job as Denny Green.
Yeah.
He'll get down, and he'll think he's out, and then boom, he bounces back and puts 17-0 on Green Bay in the first half.
Well, sometimes in recent years it's been a very fast start for the Vikings. They've come out of the blocks in a hurry. This year, they didn't come out of the blocks in a hurry. And people were saying he's through, he's got the wrong method, he's not doing what he should be doing. But today they're doing what they should be doing.
And they're doing it with a lot of emotion.
Yep.
I think that's a big part of it. I mean, they came out here and they really set the pace defensively.
I'm not sure what's going on now. The card's coming out.
They're going over to the Packers sideline. That's what they're doing. I think there's an injured person or that's a coach is what it is, yeah.
Novak,
special teams coach.
He's saying he's okay.
Yeah, but he's holding on to one of his guys, too, and taking a drink.
Josh Bidwell, the punter, asking him if he's sure he's okay.
You know, they take some real shots over there. If you're not paying attention, sometimes you'll be looking up the field and you'll get rolled up upon down lower.
Mike Sherman now comes over with his arm around the special teams coach.
He doesn't look like he's all right.
No, he doesn't.
They sent the card over from the Vikings sideline, and then they took it back. One of the things that I think is a good rule, when they have something like that on the sideline, until they get it under control, they don't play.
Right.
Well, one time they continue to play and stuff would go on the sideline. Now, until it gets under control, they do not put the ball in play.
2nd and 4. Amon Green short of a first down. Looked like he had a little more room than he had.
Yep, they've had big doses of Amon Green a year ago, and they weren't going to do it again today. And every time he gets the ball, boom, they're going to swarm him.
Let's go down to Ron Pitts quickly.
Well, Pat, special teams coach of the Green Bay Packers, Frank Novak, he got a football in the chest, the second chest injury, unfortunately for the Packers. We'll check his status, and I'll get back to you on that. Pat?
All right, Ron, thank you. Favre just barely got rid of that to Corey Bradford, and the Packers picked up a first down. This is a very close sack and a close completion.
Well, what happened is the right tackle tried to cut to Lance Sawyer and missed him, and he almost took Brett Favre apart.
There's a great rivalry in this part of the country between the Packers and the Vikings.
You have to be pretty tough when you wear a Green Bay Packer jersey.
And stand up.
And stand up right in the middle of all those Viking fans and all that purple.
Here's Favre back to throw. Incomplete. Driver went up for it, but couldn't bring it down.
Kylie Wong was there close. That was the pressure. We see the blitz coming now. Anytime you see a blitz coming on that end, you're going to see man-to-man on this end. That's exactly what they're looking for. Here again, Kylie Wong getting good pressure. Remember I said he used to be a defensive lineman at Stanford. He said he likes that part of the job the best. Still rushing the passer. Got up and got his hands on that ball and just didn't come down with it. But the Vikings are blitzing the Packers a lot today. Here comes Wong again.
Wong again, that's right. Incomplete. David Martin, the intended receiver, the backup tight end or second tight end from the Packers.
Right, and the nickel or dime back, Tyrone Carter, is right there with him. See him, and he got that left hand in there. Brett Favre is having a little trouble getting the ball to his guys with time. He has to get it there quickly sometimes before he wants to, It's been there. It's been in their hands. They've dropped a lot of balls.
And he's had the heat on him as he tries to throw.
The whole time. Here's another bad snap.
Favre picks it up and fires it up in the air. And incomplete.
That saved a lot of yards, though, his throwing that ball up there. It could have been intercepted, but the thing is, that's not throwing the ball away. See, the difference is here is there's a receiver in that area. Watch, he just throws that thing up just as he gets hit. Now, that would have been a sack right there, and, of course, that saved him by his doing that about 20 yards.
Troy Walters back deep. That's the second time that ball has bounced back to Favre in the shotgun.
That may be the end of the shotgun on the road for the Packers, too. They may not do it in the second half anymore.
Oh, we might see Frank Winters at center. Into the end zone, and the Vikings will operate from the 20. Don't forget, coming up on the Visa halftime report, J.B., Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up-to-the-second stats. And today they should be very interesting, along with the scores of the early game.
But right now, as we speak, tied for the lead in the Central Division are the 4-1 Green Bay Packers and the 4-1 Chicago Bears.
Who would have thought?
I'll tell you, this Viking defense, we get back to West Coast offense, we get back to rhythm, we get back to those types of things. This Viking defense has not allowed the Packers to get into it.
Gone. To Chamberlain. Fighting for yardage, gets the first down. Minnesota moves the sticks.
We thought that we would have seen more of that. That was one of the things that Dante Culpepper thought, that they were going to throw a lot more in this game because of this cover 2 and this loose cover 2, a lot more to the tight end.
Culpepper back in the pocket. Now he comes out. And he's chased. Couple of hats down. The Packers are saying the ball hit the ground. Jake Reed.
Oh, and there's a penalty, I bet, on someone on the sideline there. The hats mean that someone went out of bounds.
Yep.
And a receiver can't go out of bounds and come back in and be the first guy to touch the ball. So with the 2 hats, that has to be part of someone going out of bounds.
But the flag is something else again.
Well, the flag, I think, is something that's going to be on someone that was yelling on the Green Bay sideline.
There is no infraction on the play. The receiver stepped out of bounds and had not reestablished his position in field before he touched the ball. By rule, pass is incomplete.
See, that's what the hat is. You see, when you can see the feet out now. You see, now he can't come back in and be the first guy to touch the ball.
Didn't the ball hit the ground first?
It didn't make any difference, yeah. It was academic. But I don't know what that other flag was, though. I mean, there was a late flag out there.
Yeah.
Maybe they ignored that, or maybe that was a guy just figured a couple minutes after the fact what happened. What do you think?
I'm glad they picked it up. 2nd and 10. Draw play. Harold Morrow. And Morrow gets a Viking first down.
And that's what the Green Bay Packers did to the Baltimore Ravens last week. They would get in a shotgun, a passing formation, and run the ball. And you just have to do that just enough so that they can say, or they can't say, every time they're in shotgun, it's a pass, everyone just tee off and rush the passer.
51 seconds left in the first half. Vikings call a timeout. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, J.B., Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league. And the Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up-to-the-second stats. The Vikings have been most impressive in this first half.
Yeah, they have, and it was something that they were just kind of waiting. I think that everyone thought they were down. I thought they were down, and they were. And the Packers were the other road. They were up, and They were just coming off a big win. They have a bye next week. You think this would be their day? Flip-flopping.
Here's Culpepper. Randy Moss crossing. Taken down by Darren Sharper. Not as hard as the last time.
Because he didn't have that same angle. On that one, Randy Moss was running away from Sharper. The other one, he was running into Sharper.
Culpepper's going to run a play. He gets back in the shotgun instead of spiking it. Throws up the field. Pass caught by Chris Carter. And that should be a first down.
Well, Randy Moss is fresh now because he didn't. I was watching him down here in the bottom, and he didn't run much of a pattern that time. That's one of the negative things about Randy Moss. He's a great player, and he's an explosive threat, but he will take plays off, as he just did.
A reminder again that tonight the League Championship Series continues at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox and Fox Sports Net. Most of you will see the Mariners and Yankees square off in Game 4 of the ALCS here on Fox. And you can catch the Diamondbacks and Braves in Game 5 of the NLCS on Fox Sports Net.
See, here's what I was talking about Randy Moss. This last play, you can see that they are doubling him. And that's always going to take, he's always going to take two guys out. Now, he doesn't do much. In fact, Mike McKenzie doesn't even come out of his back pedal. That was Randy Moss's running a pattern. So he saved himself, and now they had a timeout, so now he ought to be fresh to really go on this one. But they didn't line up right. They're confused out here.
He goes slot left, and now he moves to his right. Culpepper's going to take off, and he flashes into the secondary. Culpepper to the 10. Culpepper knocked out of bounds just shy of the goal line by Chris Aiken.
That's what I said earlier. Dante Culpepper is their best quarterback. He's also their best running back. Look, they have a lead. He follows the lead. That was a lead draw. Sharper comes up. He puts a little move on Darren Sharper, gets to the outside, puts the ball in his left hand, and tries to get into the end zone. Watch the lead here. You see he comes off of Dixon's block. Sharper, poor angle there, and he just outruns everyone. There's the old offensive lineman on wheels right there.
He is big. They mark it back further than I thought it was. Here's Culpepper rolling right, looking right, and throwing it away. Flag on the play.
There was all kinds of congestion down there. There was about 7 or 8 guys down there, counting the Vikings and the Packers in that end zone.
This against the Vikings. Offensive pass interference.
Well, that's what I said, in that whole bunch of people, there had to be something going on.
Pass interference. Number 80, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Chris Carter.
Chris Carter is number 80 here, and he's always used his hands and his body. You see here, he just goes and he just blocks. I don't know. He's playing it like it was a running play.
Yeah.
And it was a passing play. That's what I was talking about, that whole bunch of guys down there in that corner. And the whole play seemed to be fouled up.
9 seconds left, and Anderson is coming on to try a field goal. And he is right down the middle to make it 20-0. Minnesota over Green Bay. 36 yards away for Anderson.
Chris Carter's still not sure what the heck that play was. He's over there thinking it's a runner. He wasn't running the pass pattern.
No, he wasn't. I'm sure he thought it was a run.
And he's saying what he did was okay. He's arguing about it now. But 20-0 in the first half.
Who would have thought?
I'll tell you, I mean, it's Minnesota, and to me, the whole tempo, and they had some bad things happen to them earlier. You know, they had those turnovers, but their defense has played much better than a Viking defense that I've seen in a long time.
Well, when Green Bay had the ball and had so many chances early in the game, you said it's going to come back to haunt you, and it has.
Yeah, when you get those opportunities, if you don't take advantage of them and you let a team sit in there the way they did, they're going to come back on you.
When you got them down, you got to put them away.
And they still have a 0 up there. And I'll tell you, I remember as a coach that the toughest points were always those first points. You know, breaking through that barrier.
Anderson is going to kick off this time instead of Berger. Rossum is back deep for the Packers.
If Anderson kicks off, that means it's not going to be a conventional kick. This will be something rather unconventional.
Some bouncing or... Yep. Bounces all the way back to Rossum. And he's got some room. That's the end of the first half with the score of the Vikings 20, the Packers nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue from Minnesota after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
No trickery in this one, although this is kind of interesting again.
Rossum up to about the 8. And out to about the 27.
I was talking about earlier about Favre's record, and his home record, you look at it, is 62-11. His road games on grass is 22-12. Now his road games on artificial turf is 11-28, and that was what I said earlier. I mean, you like to say, well, that doesn't mean anything, but it has to be a thing when you have that many numbers over that, long a period of time.
Well, he said to us last night it doesn't make any difference to him. But with that kind of record, you know it's got to make a difference. Here's Amon Green. For about 7-8 yards, maybe. Here's his passing chart.
The longest pass that he's had has been 14 yards. You see that the complete or the yellow ones or gold ones, and they're all right in this area here. In fact, almost less than 10 yards. And you see that his incompletes, the red ones, are the ones that are a little longer, and of course he had the interception right in the middle again to Kylie Wong. So somewhere he has to get the ball a little deeper too.
Green breaks out of the pack, and Amon Green. I don't think they're going to catch him. Yes, they will too. Amon Green all the way down to the 5-yard line, and a flag dropped at the end of the play. He was stopped and kept going.
That's the thing that Amon Green can do. We talked about the yards after contact or yakking. He leads the league in that. The Minnesota Vikings had kept him contained in that first half.
Yep.
And then his first run in the second half, he runs right away from him.
He grabbed somebody's face mask. Let's see.
And a personal foul. Dressed in the face mask by the runner, number 30.
By Amon Green.
There's Kenny Wright, number 20, coming in. And you see he goes to straight arm him there and just holds on to his face mask. I think you can straight arm and just, push that hand out there.
Yeah.
But you can't push it out and grab and hold. But it was still a heck of a run. I mean, that run. Watch Kylie Wong here. I mean, Kylie Wong, number 52, had great position and just went to wrap him up. And when he went to wrap him up, there's nothing there.
So it's first down, Packers at the Viking 20. Dorsey Levens goes in motion. There are no backs. Favre sees it coming and got it out of there to Antonio Freeman. Let's go down to Ron Pitts.
Well, Pat, I talked to Tom Rodley, the Packers offensive coordinator. He said 4 yards rushing, unacceptable. We got to do a lot better job at that. You see Amon Green is trying to get that done. He said as far as the passing game, we're going to go to a match protect scheme. Keep everybody in, give Brett more time to throw the football. He's getting way too many hits back there, way too much pressure. He also said the cornerbacks of the Vikings are playing too far off. We think we can get some slant routes in on them.
And that time they had nobody to protect. Everybody out. Dorsey Levens gets the carry. Maybe he got a yard.
That's the play that they ran so successfully last week against the Ravens, where they come across and they have a trap and a lead in the same hole. That time again, the Viking defense have been doing a good job all day of getting penetration. They're winning the battle on the line of scrimmage. Look at Brett Favre under pressure. He's been hit 7 times, hurried 7 times. And that's what Mike Sherman was talking about. He hasn't been sacked, do you see those hits and hurries.
And the one interception, the big one for a touchdown. Shuttle pass. Dorsey Levin. Not much.
And Mike Sherman was just saying that they're going to go to more maximum protection. That's one of the things that they hate to do in this West Coast offense. I mean, the idea is to get 5 out all the time, you know, and then they hate to say that we have to keep guys in the block. And you can see that they're doing it right here. Of course, that was a shovel pass, but they have Bubba Franks in a position where he can be a blocker.
Still first and goal. And no sign of the field goal team. They need 7. Levin. On first and goal, I guess they wouldn't go for the field goal, would they?
No, they're as you say, they're thinking of getting 7 in here. I'm surprised if Dorsey Levens was a guy. I think what they wanted to do, because Dorsey Levens is mostly in on passing situations, pass receiving situations, and then if they're going to run the ball, it would be Amon Green. They did that against Tampa Bay, too. They put Dorsey Levens in, tried to fool Tampa Bay and ran him. It didn't work then, and it didn't work here either.
And Amon Green is in now and comes in motion to the right. Pass is batted down by Colomé, who thought he should have intercepted it.
Alan Colomé, as we said, he just got here a couple days ago from Cleveland, is a starting left defensive end. And again, when you rush the passer, if you don't get there, then you get your hands up. He didn't have to get his hands up very far because that was a low throw.
defense. 5-yard penalty. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat second down.
That's right. The guy that almost intercepted the ball, Stalin Colonnet, is the guy that's also jumped before he almost intercepted it.
So the ball's down to the 4. It's second down now and goal. And that's Amon Green. Spins away from 1. Works it down to about the 1. Hit by Kenny Wright.
They had their free safety up there, Orlando Thomas, and he had penetration. He was coming on a run dog, and he had perfect position, and he just misses the tackle. Watch him right here, 42. You see right now, he's in great position right there, and Amon Green just spins out of that tackle. Now that's a 4-yard play for Green Bay, and a -4 for Orlando Thomas.
And Amon Green did it all on his own as he spun and got away.
Well, he went in there to make a tackle, and he caught a spinner.
A tackle eligible on the right side. Green goes in motion. Favre has a man wide open. Bubba Franks, nobody anywhere in the area.
Well, that's what Bubba Franks has been. He's been the guy that the closer to the goal line, the bigger Bubba Franks becomes in this offense.
He's big enough anyway.
And then you go play pass, you fake to the fullback, come up, and as you said, there was no one around him. No one covers Bubba Franks. Bubba Franks just runs right out here, and you see there's no one around him, or there's not a Minnesota Viking around Bubba Franks.
The Packers finally get on the board and make it 20-7. As Longwell's extra point is good. Touchdown pass from Favre to Franks. Is taken down from behind. Good coverage by the Packers, Donald Driver. And so the Vikings get their first offensive look in the second half. Culpepper gives to Chapman. Nothing.
Let's watch that touchdown again, Pat. We'll see Bubba Franks is here. Now what happened here is going to cover Bubba Franks. Now Amon Green goes in motion, takes him out. Now there's no one for Bubba Franks, so he just goes in here. But what? You see, motion, boom, there goes the cover guy. No one comes over, and here's Bubba all by himself. 2-yard line. That'll happen a lot. You know, when you give that motion down on the goal line, and then boom, snap the ball right up there. A lot of times the guy will be free. Sometimes motion is good as play pass.
Second and 7. Culpepper drops. Chased out of the pocket. Culpepper throws upfield. think that's complete. I think Moss did everything right.
Well, it goes on a highlight reel anyway. It's a heck of a catch.
Yeah.
When you can come up, here's Randy Moss on the outside. Mike McKenzie doesn't get a bump. You see, so he just goes, gets in that hole, but then watch him work back to the sideline and up in the air. That is
got
something.
both feet down.
That is something that's difficult to do. As the ball is coming full speed at you, you go full speed at the ball, and then do all those other things that Randy Moss just did because he's Randy Moss.
And get a first down. Chapman. About 4. Nate Wayne brought him down.
And we look at Dante Culpepper's first half. You see he has 10 completions. And you see, again, his are the shorter variety, but then he does have this one big one, the deep one where he sprinted right and threw back to Chris Carter. But both these passing games have been of the shorter variety, as most passing games are today, especially when they give these soft cover 2 shells like this.
Culpepper changing the play. And he's back to throw it.
Gone.
And lofts it deep for Carter. There's a collision, and there's a flag on the play.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one. Who they call this on? Tyrone Williams was there. I think he had the body position, and Chris Carter was going to do like a stop and go. And they're going to say that
Pass interference. Number 37 is defense.
Tyrone Williams.
First down.
Here's Tyrone Williams. He's 37. Chris Carter's going to come like he's going to stop here, and then he's going to, oh, he just ran right into it. Oh, there's no way that can
That's a bad call.
Yeah, there's no way that can be against Tyrone Williams. I mean, Chris Carter just ran right into it.
First and 10, Minnesota. In Packer territory here, Chapman again. Hit behind the line. The ball's loose. Chapman gets it back. Hit by Bernardo Harris.
And Bernardo Harris got penetration. We saw Kylie Wong doing that for the Vikings. And the middle linebacker for the Packers is Bernardo Harris, number 55. And you see that he gets the penetration, and he puts his helmet right on the ball.
And shoved it right through and out.
The thing about these Packer linebackers, I think that's been an improvement. I think Bernardo Harris has developed as a better middle linebacker and have more speed.
They got all
outside linebacker.
Yeah. Here's Culpepper to throw it. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Bernardo Harris around his feet.
That was one of those zone dogs. They brought Bernardo Harris and they dropped the right end, John Theory. So you're going to have Theory's going to drop back here as a linebacker. Then they bring Harris on this side. There's Bernardo Harris here. He knows that he's going to hit that hole. He just runs right over Doug Chapman.
Yeah.
Doug Chapman, that's the thing about a running back. They say, well, they run, they have to do this. The other thing a running back has to do a lot of times is he has to block. He has to pass protect.
Culpepper back to throw. Thompson fires deep for Moss. Incomplete. And no flags this time.
Look at Darren Sharper there, number 42, shaking his head. That's his job, is he has to cut him off, and he does a good job of it. Watch Darren Sharper. He's number 42 here. Now, we know that they're always going to roll to Moss. You see him coming over here. Now, he sees Randy Moss make that cut. Now, he's going to go and cut him off. You see, he gets right in front of him and takes the angle away from him so that Randy Moss can't go to the ball.
So Berger is back to punt. Rossum back deep for the Packers. Signals fair catch. Lets it go over his head and it goes into the end zone. So the Packers will take over with 6:38 left in the third at their own 20. Robert Griffith looking on. John Madden pointed out earlier he should be back after the Minnesota bye. By the way, Leroy Butler will not be back for the Packers. He's got a bruised sternum. They took x-rays. The x-rays were negative, but he won't be back. So Chris Akins will take his place. Favre complete to to Bradford. And right now, for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
And John, it's a surprising Chicago Bears. Impressive today. The A-Train, Anthony Thomas, 188 yards on the ground today. That touchdown helped them to a 24-0 victory. Their 4-1 could be in first place in the Central if Green Bay loses. Back to Pat and John.
And who would have thought if Green Bay loses, they'll be 4-2 and the Bears will be 4-1. What are the odds you could have done that? Here is Favre, and wide open is Freeman. And he might have been out of bounds even if he had caught it.
You know, that's the thing that I always say, that the rule, anytime you run enough, is the receiver has to stay 5 yards from the sideline. You see right here, Freeman is too close to the sideline, so he gives Brett Favre no place to throw it over his outside shoulder. Now, he could have, he was beaten so well that he could have thrown that ball just out in front of him.
Yeah. Inside.
Yeah, he could have thrown it inside.
Third and about 4. 3 make it. 5:57 left to play in the third quarter.
4 out of 10 third down conversion so far.
That could have easily been 20-14. Favre. Freeman. Over his head. Incomplete. They'll have to punt.
That was one of the first times that they threw on the rookie cornerback, Eric Kelly, over here. Eric Kelly has pretty good position. Watch him. He's right here. He's just going to come right here. He is down in the bottom with Antonio Freeman, and he just has a man-to-man, and he's right there. It makes Brett Favre throw over him.
Yep. Walters back deep for Josh Bidwell's punt. Gets the ball on the bounce. And gets to the 37. So 5:40 left to play in the third.
Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 36. By DirecTV, the #1 satellite entertainment provider. By Taco Bell's new chicken quesadilla. And by Snickers. Don't let hunger happen to you.
Back at the Dome in Minnesota. 20-7 Vikings over the Packers. Minnesota's ball at their own 37. Culpepper. Incomplete. Intended for Moss. Too high.
Andy Moss has caught 5 passes, and you know, that's not bad. The bad thing is it's only for 43 yards, and I think that, you know, somewhere, even though they are playing that soft zone, and even though they're rotating to him all the time, there still has to be some corners or something in there, something that you can get to him deeper so that he can make that big and explosive play they still need.
Well, he's not 100% healthy. He has a bad foot. He can still do more than most. Chapman.
Well, the one thing that they know is that they're going to get off to, so they do run on that side. And here's the guy, when you run anywhere inside, you have to block Gilbert Brown. And then when you have he and David Dixon going against each other, he's going to run right down the line now. You better not be cutting back. Gilbert's going to have a heck of a collision with you.
He and David Dixon, that's a mountain.
That's about 700-pound a guy.
And Gilbert has lost at least 60, they say.
Yeah, there's probably another little guy running around somewhere in Green Bay.
Packers showing blitz. Culpepper gets rid of it in a hurry to Chamberlain. Chamberlain fights, and I think he got a first down.
Heck of a play by Byron Chamberlain.
That was a heck of a play.
Because he was a hot read on that. You're going to see the pressure coming from the right side. It's going to come from here. You see the overload right there? They're going to get a free guy, so they know that they have a free guy, so then you have a hot receiver. The hot receiver is Byron Chamberlain. He has to look right now. Culpepper has to throw it before he can get to the first down. Then Byron Chamberlain, with his run, has to make the first down.
Which he did. It's 1st and 10 Minnesota. Culpepper to Chapman. And the surge gets about 3.
Yeah, we talk about the offensive line of the Vikings. Well, the one constant that's been there has been David Dixon, and then Chris Lewinsky, number 76, is a right tackle, and he's a good run blocker. You know, he's not the pass protector, but he's a good run blocker. So when you get Matt Burke the center, David Dixon the right guard, and Chris Lewinsky the right tackle, you can get some pretty good run blocking.
At least you get some push. Culpepper turns around and throws to Moss. Moss takes another shot from Sharper. That's the second time today he has leveled Randy Moss. Both times he has gotten back up.
Well, that's Darren Sharper's job. He's deep here, and see, he just runs deep. He's not going to let Randy Moss get deep. Now, if he's going to catch anything in front of him, he's going to level him. But he's not going to get him. He's not going to let him get deep. They're talking about they're going to cloud or rotate the whole game towards Moss. They've been doing it the whole game. The rotation is a corner. The safety has been Darren Sharper.
A couple of times he has whipsawed Moss.
He's whipsawed him pretty good. Yeah, one on that slant.
Chapman. Good yardage.
I'll tell you, Sherman Lewis is doing a good job of mixing up the call. You talk about whipsaw. Here's the early whipsaw you're talking about. You come in there. This is where he got knocked out of vertical, and he couldn't get up. And he couldn't get himself straightened out. It took him a while to get up and get straightened out and get his eyes and stuff straightened out. But Randy Moss will catch the ball.
Yep.
You throw it to him, he's going to catch the ball and take that hit.
2nd and 4. Here's Chapman again, and he pounds inside the 25 near another Viking first down.
Yeah, Doug Chapman had confidence coming into this game. I mean, he was just waiting to play. You know, Michael Bennett did most of the play, and he never got a chance to get a rhythm like he is here. 17 carries, 75 yards, 4.4. But the thing that I like about Doug Chapman is he runs the ball straight ahead. You know, as Denny Green said, he's a slasher. I mean, he's not going to do a lot of cute stuff before he gets to the hole. Get to it and through it.
Second year from Marshall. So he played with Randy Moss in college.
I think there's 3 or 4 players from Marshall in the game.
Culpepper. The quarterback sneak. Packers are saying somebody move. But the referee signals first down. The chains will move.
I don't think Dante Culpepper told anyone else about that. No. Because there was about 3 or 4 guys that didn't even move. You just watch it. I mean, this could be one of those goose plays where you just get up there and just goose the center right now and then run right in behind him. I think that's exactly what that was.
The center got out of there in a hurry.
Culpepper was right behind him.
Here's Chapman again. For a yard, perhaps. But they're well within range for Anderson. That's going to be the last play of the 3rd quarter. And the Viking bench is up and celebrating on the sideline. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score of the Vikings 20, the Packers 7. Fox NFL Sunday from Minnesota will continue after a word from your local Fox station. 2nd and 8. Culpepper. The flying saucer.
Yeah, one of the keys on this drive has been the extra yards. Remember this 3rd down play, Byron Chamberlain?
Oh, that's a big play.
Right there. I mean, that was what got him the first down. And Jim Kleinsaucer just did the same thing on that last play, although it didn't get him a first down, but it put him in better position.
Kleinsaucer weighs about 275 pounds.
Look at that. The Vikings have had 16 first downs, and the Packers have only had 6. After you watch last, who would have thought that?
Not me.
We said who would have won a lot today, didn't we?
Culpepper escapes one man, and now he thunders into the end zone. Touchdown.
He's going in the stands. Look out. Yeah, send him back. He's pretty valuable here.
The stands may have to give. This he does pretty much on his own.
And he made moves. He made 2 or 3 moves in the hole. Like if he's not in shotgun, he just goes straight back, kind of goes to his left, follows his block there, then makes a little move right there and takes it in the end zone.
He is a load.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not only a load, he's a load that has moves.
Yeah.
You know? Most loads don't have any moves. But when you're a load and you have moves, then you're really something.
Here's Chris Akins.
Here's Chris Akins. You see, he's still down. He tries to tackle him right around the waist, and he gets knocked out darn near. Chris Akins is still down from that hit.
It doesn't even faze Culpepper.
No, he didn't even know that Akins was there. That's what I said. I mean, you put a load on wheels and give him moves, stuff like that happens.
And he also possesses an arm.
And I think when you have a team and you have Culpepper and you have Moss and you have Carter, even though they aren't down in other areas, in the guard Lindsey down, and they bring Matt Burke to center around, so it's an organized play. The only thing is, both those guys miss their blocks. And Culpepper is still good enough that he can now watch. The left guard is going to come down. The center pulls around. Lindsey misses. Matt Burke misses. But that thing, I think maybe confused the defense enough, left just a couple of them there, that Culpepper got it in, and now they're going to go for 2.
Well, the way things are going, why not? Culpepper's 5th rushing touchdown this year.
You know, we talked about those big plays. That Byron Chamberlain was a big play of this drive to keep it alive.
As Denny Green said before this game started, the season is still young. You can't count anybody out. Culpepper will get 2 to Jake Reed. 28-7. Very happy and very proud of the way things have taken place today. Berger to kick it off. Rawson back deep for Green Bay.
You notice when we do a late game, the second game of a doubleheader, the crowd is usually more raucous?
Yes, I do notice that. Is there a reason?
Yeah, I'll tell you now.
Right now for a game break. Let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Pat, after football, it'll be baseball as the Yanks' Derek Jeter, the 96 Rookie of the Year, goes against Ichiro, this year's AL Rookie of the Year favorite. Also, Arizona is looking to ride the bat of leading hitter Craig Counsell to try and clinch their first ever World Series berth. Whichever game is on Fox in your area, the other will be on Fox Sports Net. That's coming up after football right here on Fox. Back to Pat and John.
Hey, JB, thanks for the update on batting practice. I love batting practice. When I go to a game, I always get there and go to batting practice.
Brett Favre. Pass is caught up the middle by Donald Driver.
You know, Brett Favre's quarterback rating in this game is 60.9.
What was it before this game? Like 106?
I don't know. Last week it was ridiculous. It was so high.
Well, the Vikings have done one heck of a job on Brett Favre and the entire Packer offense.
They did, and they started right off the bat. I mean, they didn't sit there and wait. They were going to put pressure on them. They were very, very aggressive. They attacked the line of scrimmage, and they just kept doing it for 3 quarters.
Screen pass. Levin. Flag on the play. Way back, way back.
I know what they're all saying on this Vikings sideline. Remember our 4th quarter, we're not too good. Remember what happened last week against Detroit. We let them back in the game.
Holding. Number 68 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Against Wall.
Yep, Mike Wall, the left guard. You're going to see Mike Wall here. One thing about the Green Bay Packers is they're one of the few teams where the offensive line takes good line splits. You see, that's what they do on a screen. That's a technique that a lot of linemen use. You want to invite the guy up the field, then you want to push him by you. And sometimes in that push by, so you can get out in the screen, you do a little hold to help you push.
Well, you get your arms extended and they think you hold at least. Here's Favre. Screen pass the other way. Dropped by Levin. Brings up 3rd and 17.
And one of the motivations I was just talking about, Pat, for this Viking defense is they've been outscored in the fourth quarter 44-7 this year. So that's the thing that they have to be talking about. We know we can do it. Don't give them any life. We're ahead 26-7, but our history in the fourth quarter hasn't been real good. And so instead of repeating that because you know it can be done to you, then you say, there's no way we can let that be done to us.
Here's Favre from the gun. Incomplete. Intended for Bradford. There's another flag on the play.
We talked about being in sync and rhythm and those types of things. The Viking defense started off and not letting this Packer offense get in sync, and they're still not in sync.
That's exactly right. This is going to be against Minnesota.
If that's defensive holding, that'll be automatic first down, which is a big penalty. It could be just a 5-yard penalty, but it'll be automatic first down. Because they were, 3rd and 17?
Something like that.
There is no infraction on the play.
No infraction.
The ball was in the air at the time of the illegal contact. Pass is incomplete. Brings up 4th down.
Oh, well, that's something different.
I guess the ball was in the air, and it wasn't to the guy who did the illegal contact, because if it were to the guy where the ball was in the air, then that would be pass interference.
Walters back deep for Minnesota. Josh Bidwell the punt.
I don't think Brett Favre is frustrating, but I do think he's having a frustrating day.
No question about it.
Again, this defensive staff and these defensive players of the Vikings have had a lot to do with it. I think this crowd, this stadium, the indoors, this isn't a Packer environment. I mean, a lot of players, when you read stories this week, they said that they knew they were going into a hostile environment, but they didn't play like they knew they were coming into a hostile environment.
Well, it's so much different from the atmosphere you get at Green Bay. Walters signals fair catch and makes it at about the 42-yard line where the Vikings will take over. And there's another flag on the play. And here they come.
Another flag.
A fracas.
A fracas to flags?
Fracas.
Or flags because of the fracas?
Flags because of the fracas. That's hard to say.
Yeah, there's 3 flags right there in the 40-yard line, so whatever the fracas was, 3 guys saw it.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 22 of the receiving team. After the fair catch. A 15-yard penalty. First down.
22 is Tyrone Carter right there. That's what it is. That's just stupid play.
Yeah, no reason for that.
Combs, he had a great one the other day. He was talking about something being ready, and he says it's saucered and blowed. Took a while to figure that saucered and blowed means ready.
Some of you, it took a while to figure out.
No, I knew.
I knew what it was.
Yeah, they used to take a cup of coffee and then pour it in a saucer and then blow on it to cool it off and then drink it.
Right. And drink it out of the saucer.
So Reds was saying it's saucered and blowed. And here we are in our pillbox and looking out. And American flag there that right now we're so proud of and our whole nation is so proud of.
Sharper gives to Chapman. Sharper on the stop.
You know, Doug Chapman has really done his part today. I mean, it's been this offensive line that's blocked very well. It's been Culpepper making a heck of a lot of plays, but you have to have just enough of a running game to tie everything together. And Doug Chapman has provided that. Look at the Green Bay Packers, 50 points in the first 5 games and 28 points so far today. That's the way to call timeout.
Get in the other team's backfield. But Green Bay trails 28-7. Fans, as their team leads 28-7.
And what did I tell you about the late game?
The fans are more raucous.
They are, you see. And I think I didn't get a chance because we went to bat practice. I didn't get a chance to tell you why, but
yeah,
maybe some of these pictures might suggest why.
I think I saw the Purple Man group there. Culpepper, first down to Moss.
You know, one of the things that Mike Sherman, the Green Bay Packer coach, always talked about is you have to win the battle of explosive plays. Explosive plays are runs over 12 yards, passes over 16. You see, Green Bay only has 1, Minnesota has 6. So in the statistical thing that coaches do, that's one that Mike Sherman believes in, one of the battles that you have to win. And obviously they haven't won it so far.
Key to that one is none over 16, none passing. Culpepper, Chapman, flag on the play.
And it's thrown by the referee. It was in the area. The referee protects the quarterback and calls holding on the right side. Looked like he threw it right at 71, David Dixon.
Yep.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Didn't give us.
He forgot to tell us who it was. But I think it is number 71. You see him right here. See David Dixon? He has a hold of Dotson all the way. And see, he keeps that right hand on the shoulder there.
Yep. Got a handful of jersey.
He was trying to get Santana Dotson to go the way that he wanted him to, and Santana was going the other way.
Culpepper appears to be changing the play, and he's going to have to hurry. Gets it away. Incomplete and almost intercepted. Almost bounced off the hands of Randy Moss to Sharper.
And you can see, you know, Sharper is a guy that has been a safety, or is a safety, and has been a corner. And remember, for a long time when you go 3 wide receivers, they'd play him as a corner. So he's a little advantage when he's back there as a defensive back. And I think that's why they've been doubling Randy Moss. In essence, not only they are rolling towards him, but they're also, in essence, putting 2 corners on him. The corner that he lines up on and Darren Sharper deep.
Culpepper out of the shotgun this time. Gives the handoff to Brian Saucer. Chris Aikens out there to make the stop.
You see Nate Wayne run out there, number 54. He can hardly run. I mean, they got him beaten down pretty well now. When you can get Kleinsaucer there, and he gets a little shield there from the umpire, and Kleinsaucer can get out and go.
Somebody just got trampled.
Have you worn a defense down?
Yeah.
This Minnesota Viking offense has worn this Green Bay Packer defense down.
Tyrone Williams just got trampled underneath that avalanche. 3rd and 9. Packers showing blitz. Jake Reed. Culpepper saw it coming and got it to Jake Reed, who got a Viking first down.
And he got it to Jake Reed because he's the guy that's man-to-man. They're going blitz, so they know they're going to be man-to-man over here because they're still doubling Randy Moss. The Packers are bringing a blitz, and it's a zone dog, but they're still doubling on the side. So So what Culpepper has to do is read away from here. You see, here's Randy Moss, and you see the double here. See that they have that, so you know that on the other side, you're going to have man-to-man. The other side was Jake Reed.
And Culpepper got it out to him, 1st and 10. Clock running, 8:24 left to play. And the Vikings in control. Another pass. This one to Carter. Carter. A nice little juke.
Yep, that's an automatic thing. Anytime Culpepper sees the cornerback off on that side, when the cornerback down here is off more than 5 yards, he's just going to pick it up and automatically throw it to him. And you see, here's Carter, here's the corner, he's off more than 5 yards, so he just stops right there, picks it up, throws it, and knows that Chris Carter's going to get at least 5 yards. And if they tackle like Tyrone Williams is tackling, he's going to get more than 5 yards.
He did. About a yard shy of the first.
Now
good running by Chapman.
I was just going to say, Doug Chapman is doing those things that we said Amon Green was going to do. He's going to be running for over 100 yards, getting that yards after the contact, slashing, getting that second effort. He's up to 90 yards, 4.3 average. He's carried the ball 21 times. And when you add it all up, he's been a big part of this. There's Baja Biamilla on the sideline. He's the guy that has been a big pass rusher for the Packers. In fact, leading the league in pass rushing, but today isn't his type of game.
Culpepper, flying saucer. Culpepper kept it, I beg your pardon. Very effective fake by flying saucer, and Culpepper hit it and got the first.
Watch this fake here. He reverse pivots, comes out, makes the fake there, takes it away, almost put it in Flying Saucer's belly, and then just runs to the outside. You know, they're doing more and more of that to hold that weak side defensive end. They're bootlegging or quarterback keeping more and more in this league. The Packers do a lot of that. When you have a guy like Culpepper, you better keep both ends at home. In other words, if you start this way, this guy better stay out here, and he better stay out here, or he's going to run that play on you.
Culpepper, this time he gives the flying saucer. He gets about a yard, maybe more.
Yeah, I walked by Flying Saucer today when I was walking in here. Yeah, they have some way where the players have to walk right through the press box.
Right.
And that guy, he looks like a tackle. I mean, he looks like 285 pounds.
280 pounds at least.
Holy moly.
Coming out of the backfield.
I mean, he is, and you know, he can move and run and catch and do all those things you have to do.
But at that, he's not a heck of a lot bigger than Culpepper.
That's right. And you put them, and they're in the backfield.
Yeah. Chapman, chased by Aikens and Tyrone Williams.
Well, Tyrone Williams looked bad on that one to Chris Carter. He's doing way too much talking for being down 28-7 and missing a tackle in the open field on Chris Carter. But he was a little too proud of himself, and I think that maybe that's frustration now. You know that you get in this part of the game and they're whipping you, and then they make you look bad in the open field, and you finally get a shot on someone, then you take it. But when it's down 28-7, I think you just take it and you walk back to the huddle. I don't think there's anything to talk about.
Baja Biamilla had a neck stinger. He's back in the game. Culpepper. Come on. Inside the 5. We got him.
He's going to do something. He's chest bumping and doing things. I mean, he is such an explosive player that even when he does nothing defensively, you have to react to nothing. And when you react to nothing, he's going to catch a ball like that.
And get something.
Been thrown to 12 times today. He has 8 catches, only 73 yards.
First and goal, Minnesota. Culpepper lets the clock run down as far as he can and then calls a Viking timeout. Let's sell the things in their home, the Metrodome. 28-7, 3:42 left. First and goal.
This is where you expect a Culpepper run. Now, I don't know if you'll get it with the score 28-7.
You get Flying Saucer, who jams the pile down to about the 2.
Flying Saucer will jam the pile. Like I said, I was walking by him, and I don't know why, but the players, to get to the locker room here in the Metrodome, the players have to walk through the press box.
That's a narrow staircase. I don't know how you got past him.
Well, I didn't say I was going in the staircase when I was going past him. I was going like in a hallway before I got to the staircase. But now, I mean, if it weren't 28-7, this situation would be a Culpepper run.
Well, it may be anyway. Saucer. No signal yet. Now there is. Touchdown.
Those linemen love that.
He's got the game ball.
Well, he's going to keep that. That's a Flying Saucer keeper.
Nobody's going to take that away from him.
Here he is. We just got one back here. And you see, he's just going to hand it to him. It's just man blocking. You get that little gap there, and all they have to do is hit that thing. Bernardo Harris is going to hit him, but that's not going to stop Flying Saucer.
No.
But that hole wasn't a bad hole for down there in the goal line. That was a pretty big gap.
35-7 as Anderson is good. Well, a total domination by Minnesota. Sunday night, and it's dealer's choice for which game you want to watch. Right here on Fox, you'll get one game. The other game will be on your Fox Sports Net cable channel. So you get 2 for 1. It promises to be the most exciting night of baseball this year, so check your local listing, and you'll get a baseball game. 2 for 1.
Wow, man, Halloween's not even here yet. Wait till Halloween gets here.
Do they have a game Halloween?
No, Halloween comes in the middle of the week, I think, but the frost is starting to get on the pumpkin.
Yes, it is. And some of it.
I think some of them are. I don't know if they're dressing up in Purple Pride or if they're dressing up for Halloween.
Well, some of it.
Or a birthday party, maybe.
Is not going to freeze.
Where?
Not around here.
Well, it will eventually. It's going to.
Not that kind of decoration.
Oh, it won't freeze today, but eventually everything's going to freeze here. You know why Jim Kleinsaucer took that ball, Pat?
Why?
That was his first NFL touchdown.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought he had caught some passes.
Now, maybe that was his first running touchdown.
This is Ronson starting around for a place to go. Next week, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show as J.B. Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff. Then the Saints look to gain ground on the first-place Rams, or the Buccaneers battle these Vikings. Later, the dominating Giants defense takes on the Redskins, or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific here on Fox.
There's Jim Kleinsaucer there, and that was the first touchdown of any means in his career.
It was.
Yeah, he didn't catch any, he didn't kick any touchdowns, and that was the first one that he ran.
Brett Favre out of the shotgun. Up the middle to Amon Green, who rolls around for a Packer first down before he's brought down by Ed McDaniel.
Yeah, the Packers came into this game winning 2 and losing 7 in the last 9, and after this game it's going to be 2 and 8. In the last 10 years, they would only have won 2 games.
Far back. Green again. Taken down by Kylie Wong. One thing, touchdown to his credit today.
You know, you say, should they take Brett Favre out or not? The Packers do have a bye after this week.
2 minutes to go. Minnesota 35, Green Bay 7.
Corner, he let him go. That looked like that one was going to be knocked down, and it came through to Antonio Freeman.
Face mask. 5 yards only, number 42 defense.
Orlando Thomas.
Play results in a first down.
Oh, you see, I mean, that was Kelly there. Kelly had the ball. Eric Kelly. Then he missed the interception. Antonio Freeman comes up with it.
So they moved the Packers closer down to the 5. Favre fell down, got up, and didn't get all the way up. And couldn't get all the way up.
Usually the Brett Favre we know would usually go down like this, bounce up, and throw a touchdown pass.
Right.
Brett Favre has more fun playing this game than any quarterback that I know, but
I'm not sure he's having much fun right now.
I was going to say that. I don't think that today has been fun. I think today is a frustrating day, and again, they never did get in sync. They never did have any rhythm about their offense, and this Minnesota defense, they had a plan. They played a lot of guys. They did a lot of different things, but the one thing that they did the whole game is play aggressively.
Today's game is being produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roig. The broadcast associates are Charles McDonald and Phil Mason. Technical producers Bob Muller. The technical director is Joe Abenda. The audio supervisor is Fred Aldous. Pre-game show was produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. Senior producers Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Clock is stopped at the minute and 14 seconds remaining. Second and goal on the Minnesota 15.
The Packers are glad they only play here once a year.
Don't you know?
Look at Brett Favre last week and this week. His quarterback rating was 137.4 last week. This week it's 67.
That'll even things out.
Yeah, but how about, last week that was against the Baltimore Ravens defense. This is against the Viking defense.
Well, the Ravens lost again today. That was William Henderson all the way down to about the 3. And Favre still got him hurrying up.
Well, he wants to get a touchdown in and then try and get an onside kick and just get a little more action in this game. But that's just Brett Favre. I mean, that's just the way you play the game. You play it until the clock runs out.
Touchdown. Charles Lee just activated today after Schrader went down.
Here's Charles Lee. He's the outside guy. He just comes on a cross, and again, they're playing zone defense in the end zone. That's tough when you get that close to the line of scrimmage, and he just runs across, and at some point, as he goes against the across the defense, he's going to be open.
And they'll try for 2.
And then they'll try an onside kick.
Yep. And it still won't be enough.
No, it's all for practice because the Packers know that they have a bye next week. The Vikings play Tampa Bay.
Favre is hit, and hit hard just as he let it go.
But he was really hit hard.
He was really drilled.
Look at this, Pat. If you give Minnesota this win and Green Bay the loss, the Chicago Bears are in first place in the NFC Central.
The Chicago Bears. And the Vikings ahead of them. Look at this.
Yeah, we were talking to Denny Green about this, and the next 5 weeks, you look who they play. They play at Tampa next week, the Vikings do. Then they have a bye, and then they play Philadelphia, the Giants, and Chicago. So they have a tough schedule. But their record with tough schedules has been pretty good. If you look at this, they've been 8-1 going into the bye week, and they've been 8-1 coming out of the bye week.
And those 2 games they have, Tampa Bay and Philadelphia, are not going to be easy. Culpepper has had a pretty good day.
Yeah, and when you have a day like that, you just take it. And talking about taking it, look at Brett Favre take one here. That was Lance Sawyer coming from his right side. I don't know if Orlando Thomas was trying to help him up or if he was trying to talk some trash. But Brett Favre wanted no part of it. So here we got the old onside kick. This is where you put an overload here. You put all your guys over here. That means you're going to kick it over there, although they do have one guy back on this side for some kind of trick.
The NFL average 20% success rate. That one, nobody looked up. It just went out of bounds, and that's where the Vikings will get it.
If it goes out of bounds, they get one more shot at it.
That's right, at an onside kick, yeah.
Yeah, they get a penalty, and then they get one more shot at it. Now, if it goes out of bounds the second time...
out of bounds, untouched by either team. By rule, there's a 5-yard penalty, and the ball must be re-kicked. This will be the second onside kick attempt.
Right, so now in the second onside kick attempt, if it goes out of bounds, they get the ball there.
Right there. I don't know why nobody looked up. Nobody even tried to field that one.
Probably because the score is 35-13 and there's 45 seconds left to go.
Nobody really wants to continue it.
No, the concentration level is probably on a 100 percentile number would probably be about 3.
Chris Walsh took it in the air and took off with it. And then got down.
Chris Walsh, the old special teams guy. He just catches that thing now.
Yeah.
Those guys were all coming, and he goes back against the grain. We showed how they were all lined up, and then Chris Walsh said, "I don't know, I don't want to take it any more than this, so I'm going to put it right down here." Stalin Collinet just came to the team this week.
Kneels and walks off, and the Vikings walk off 35-13. The Vikings have run over the Packers. A shocker to a lot of people except the Minnesota Vikings. 35-13 the final.